So I took a Benadryl and put it right on my lips. So today I'm kind of out of it because I'm still under the influence of Benadryl.
That sounds good. I might take some tonight.
You guys, thanks for coming on and watching Comic Spot. And I know you people like to watch it way after. You're like voyeurs, you know, you're in the bushes, you're watching, but you're in the bushes. So it's good, all good. I usually do like an intro to the show and all that crap, but I'm going to leave it out today. I'm going to wing it, and I'm just going to go straight into our guest who's sitting in the wings waiting for the interview of his lifetime that at least 5 people on YouTube will watch. I already adore him. I met him here in Vegas not too long ago, and I'm going to read the intro that he sent to me. Let's see if I can get through this on one Benadryl. Neff, should have brought my glasses. Neff, I got to get my glasses. This is my mistake, Neff. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I got my real cool glasses today. You always want to see a geriatric in red glasses. Otherwise, you're not sure if they're really a geriatric. Okay. Neff's smiling. He's like, this lady. Okay. Neff is a stand-up comedian and host, and a writer with a biting wit, skill for wordplay, and an occasional deadpan delivery, which I'm not very good at, as you can see. He hails from Columbus, Ohio, with ties to Chicago, and is one of the founders of Cop City Comics. We have to hear about that. A booking agency. He's a founder of a booking agency and a launching pad for Central Ohio comedians. We're going to read that whole paragraph one more time because that's important. He hails from Columbus, Ohio, with ties to Chicago, and is one of the founders of Cop City Comics, a booking agency and launching pad for Central Ohio comedians. Second time's better. His performances extend beyond numerous local venues to Michigan, New York, Las Vegas, and West Virginia, opening, get a load of this, for names such as Ian Fidance, Mark Gregory, Tony Woods, Michael Rowland, Rojo Perez, and Keith Bender. Neff gains much of his material through traveling and personal life experiences. A regular guest on numerous podcasts, he shares his thoughts on hot topics in a blue, anecdotal, comedic style. It is more transparent than your best friend. Yeah, man, that's a great intro, Neff. And here he is right now, Neff Johnson. Woo!
Yay!
He doesn't get that excited about himself.
Nah, I'm not one of those guys.
You're in Central Ohio at your pad right now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is that is on the art wall behind you? Is that a snake?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's actually an angel, sort of. You know?
Love that. That's very artistic.
Yeah.
And what's the thing that says cut off in the bottom right?
Cut off?
Yeah, down in the art behind you in the bottom right, it says cut off.
Oh, these are like a collection of like Basquiat paintings.
Wow. That's something else. More angels. Oh,
Yeah.
You have a ton of these.
Yeah.
Do you do these yourself?
Nah, I wish I did.
And you said they're what did you say they are, Basquiat?
Yeah, Jean-Michel, like it's a collection of little pieces of Jean-Michel stuff just made into a graffiti wall. Yeah, that's actually wallpaper from Ukraine of all places.
No way.
Yeah, but there's one over here that a guy actually painted for me. His name is See that?
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I like to just sit here and stare at stuff.
I bet. So have
Uh-oh.
you been to Ukraine?
Nah, nah, nah. They mailed it to me.
Yeah,
And
that's
now
how.
it sucks because I can't get any more. Yeah.
Because you can't what?
It sucks now because I can't get any more.
You can't. Why?
They're all bombed up. Yeah, man.
What a world we live in, right?
Yeah. Different times, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I never saw anything like it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, is this like vastly different than any era in life and time you've seen? Like
This is
crazy.
I'm going to be 72 on the 19th. I've never seen the entire world exploding, the sky is falling everywhere you look.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. There's I don't necessarily know a whole bunch or believe a great deal about astronomy and stuff, but there seems to be some truth to some of the things that they say and horoscopes and whatnot. And every time a retrograde comes around, like all my ex-girlfriends call me in the same weekend. You know what I mean? So it's like there's something going on because we clearly don't mess with each other anymore. It's retro, and
Yes.
there's something about Saturn moving into this star space happening in the starting in the middle of this year, and it hasn't happened since I want to say like 1780 something, like somewhere around the inception of America. You know what I mean? And it's like the ultimate retrograde. It's supposed to like represent like huge change and metamorphosis, and hopefully we get some normalcy out of it,
Yeah. Oh
or
my
we
gosh.
wake up.
I had a crazy things happening that were really bothering me that normally don't happen. And I got a hold of a booker in Arizona, Dawn Barrio Castillo or something. Anyway, I got a hold of her for something else, and I told her, man, some really weird stuff's coming at me. And she's like, yeah, Mercury's in retrograde. And I was like, there might be some truth there because that's stuff that I told her has never happened.
Yeah, man. Because like, hey, we're mostly water. We're made out of water, right? And then the Earth is made out of water, right? And then when the moon is weird or something, you have this like the tide changes, right? So like, we must be susceptible to that sort of change, planetary change.
Yeah. I remember I started doing jokes about 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember back then, people didn't really need to laugh. But now I think because of all the craziness that's on Facebook and on news, and nobody can't get away from it, I think they really need to get out and laugh more than ever before.
Yes, it's like I call it the return of the Carlin era.
Ooh.
Return of the George Carlin era, because before George Carlin was the Carlin that we know of and all love, he wasn't in his own act. He wasn't the Carlin that we know. He was like, I don't know, surface maybe. And then he got, deep and became the GOAT, as they say. So like, I think now we're sort of back in that time. Cancel culture is, then the progressive, era also. All of these things together create sort of a comedy boom. And I think that's why you have people likening Chappelle and Rock to George Carlin, because these are the times that necessitate that type of comedy.
Exactly. Absolutely correct. All of a sudden, everybody's finally, across the board, everybody, young, old, no matter what color or religion, they're all getting it that Chappelle and Rock are the GOATs.
Mm-hmm.
Where before they were considered funny and people would watch them, but now they're getting their props.
Yeah. You guys getting a comedy boom out there? Are there new comics coming out of the walls?
Yes, all the time. And like, you've got people that come here to die, like you just do, they're like, I don't want to travel, but call me, I'll do it for $5,000. And then because they've been doing it 50, 60 years and they live here. I mean, you got Shecky Green lives here in Vegas.
Wow.
He's still alive. He's like 93, but he's still alive. You got people like him that deserve 5 to 10,000 just to show up.
Mhm.
And then you got the, you know, Mr. Griffin down at, you know, you got him. He's a legend. They have their own places. They have residencies in town, and they're, you know, and then you got people like beginners and people that are getting on bar shows, trying to get into bigger shows. You got it all here. Like,
Yeah,
whoa.
I love that place, man.
You've come here to Vegas. How many times have you done Vegas?
The time I came when I met you was only my second and last time there, but I spent like 30 days there that time. So I really got engulfed in it, ended up getting booked a couple times, and that was fun. It sort of like made me realize, like it kind of confirmed that I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? Like if I can go to another city and get booked without like asking people, you know?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I met you at Wise Guys, and I wanted to interview you because I saw you and I said, I want to hear your story. So can we hear your life story?
Yeah.
I know you got a story, man. I could tell the minute I locked eyes with you. I was like, I want to hear that story. So
Wow.
when people open up and talk about where they came from and how they got to where they are, it's so encouraging to other humans, other comedians. You know, humans and comedians are separate.
Yeah. I think we might be the difference. I think we're less everybody else is sheep in a way, you know?
Yes. So I would like to know what little Neff was like in your home, siblings, parents, lifestyle, who raised you, memories, and then go into your early days and later days in school and what you've done since school. You get the
Okay.
floor. It's all yours.
Okay. All right. It's gonna get ugly.
Good. I hope it does, because that's where the real stuff is that people can be encouraged by. That you got through it and
Okay.
you're you know that you survived it and you're a thriver now. That's what encourages people.
Those are big words. I mean, those are big words to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my father lived down the street from my mom. He was like this sort of pimp, and you know how they were in the 70s, like, you know what I mean, pretty boy, drug addict. And my mom was a church girl, you know, so he like was sort of fascinated with this opposite side of the spectrum or whatever. And his brother had just been killed. They were both very close. They looked very similar. All of that side of the family does. And he ended up knocking her up and just like moving on, you know? So it was just me and her. My great grandmother, her grandmother, were like a team in raising me, you know? And they were both very Christian, and you know, I call them sanctified. You know, that's my way of making fun of them a little bit. And so I grew up sort of sheltered in that way, you know,
Mhm.
early on, and no other siblings. My mom didn't have any other kids. My dad had a lot, and I wouldn't meet them until later on my own, sort of. Then I was quiet, super quiet. They never really had to do anything with or for me because I just would shut up, observe, and figure things out on my own, you know. Strong personality early on. So, you know, these were soft Christian Pentecostal ladies, you know, and they didn't have a tight enough hold on me to where when I got old enough to like spaz out, they couldn't, there's nothing they could have done, you know what I mean, to rein me back in. Um, and that's what happened. I got wild, but before I got wild, I was funny. Like first grade, I remember first grade, yeah, first or second grade, I remember being at that table. You remember the tables that fold up like this and they had the seats on them on the side already and they slide them down like this?
Yeah.
I remember sitting there and just having like a stream of consciousness where I just told this story completely fabricated. I had no life experience. I don't know why I was creating this BS, and they were dying from the beginning to end. I don't know how I controlled the room. I never really spoke that much. And they go, do it again, do it again. And I learned that you don't tell the same joke twice, like right away, because it ate so much shit right away. So that was like my first horrible open mic experience, you know what I mean? And then like we lived in a poor neighborhood, so we're right after that life started to get dark. Right after that, you know, I start to observe outside of my house, and it was like not good. And I kind of the funny part of me sort of died a little bit. I met my older brother, who was, by the time I met him, he was 15, 16, and already like a drug dealer that like had a car and rims and you know, back then Wu-Tang was a big deal. So he had the Wu-Tang gold teeth, something like he was mimicking somebody from Wu-Tang. Like he was a big deal, you know what I mean? And I was little bro. Not even 3 years after that, somebody broke into he lived with his grandmother. Somebody broke into his grandmother's house and killed him. And because of that, I sort of inherited some things and some, you know what I mean? And I, being a sort of a smart kid, and I capitalized off of it, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was, you know, that was just, you know, when you grow up and you look outside and everybody who's making money is doing this particular thing, and you never see anybody make money any other way, you know, what else do you do? You know, like Warren Buffett grew up around his lawyer father, and he had to be in the library 8 hours a day after school. So he just read books and learned out how to pick, and that's what he does now. He doesn't,
Exactly.
he just reads and figures out where to shoot money. You know what I mean? If I would have grown up in that situation, not to liken myself to Warren Buffett, but I you know, I would have done whatever I saw. And then life just got uglier and uglier, you know. But in the subsequent 10 years, I have been to, or was supposed to go to, probably 15 funerals, and all of them 20, 22 years or younger. Two of them were, two of those funerals were my first cousins on my dad's side. Jimmy Johnson was, he was 20 years old, and when he died, and his older brother Mikey Johnson was 18 when he died. And just grief, you know, from an early age. And the more that would happen, the less funny I was, and the more silent I became. And the silence served me because in the circles I was in, people wouldn't try me because they couldn't read me. You know what I mean? And then I this was, and at some point, this is Chicago and Columbus, back and forth, back and forth. I did graduate from high school, but only because I was expelled in Illinois with like 17 credits, and it was like 24 to graduate out there. It wasn't going to happen. Here in Columbus, 18 credits get you a diploma. So just transferring, I like the last 3 months of my 12th grade, my last grade, I got a diploma. So I got lucky there. And then my girlfriend from outside of Chicago suburbs moved down here with her son, my stepson, and we had a kid. I had a daughter. That was great. Like that sort of not only heightened my ambition, but made me want to be legitimate. You know, so I got a job in construction. Saving crazy money, staying out the way. That lifestyle saved my life. And I bought property. Remember when real estate went to hell, and the media was like, real estate's horrible, stay out of it. I'm like, you're full of shit. I'm about to buy as many houses as I can. You know what I mean? And I bought this house. I bought this house. This is a duplex. There's another one on the other side. And bought the house. Started saving money, from the rentals that I was renting out, and money was piling up. Married too early though. She was, I mess with young couples in comedy audiences all the time. Facetious, but there's a little bit of a message because when you're 22, you don't know who you are yet. And, you can't tether with someone, you're not, you probably don't have self-awareness or whatever. So yeah, we ended up divorcing. My daughter was 13 at the time, 13. And we were, me and my daughter super tight, right? So like, it was just automatic that she was going to stay with me in the divorce. Like we never even talked about it. It was already obvious, right? Her mother moved in with a guy. Like her mother moved out of our house and moved in with a guy, like right away. And in the I don't know, for whatever reason, her mom never really took her half of the responsibility with my daughter. Mm-hmm. And my daughter had already had some issues where like we couldn't figure out what it was, but my bloodline has some crazy guys in it. So I just thought she was wild because she would get mad at the teacher for not giving her a crayon and just try to bite the teacher and run out of the school, you know what I'm saying? And they're calling us and I hear her in the background like screaming with every breath. I'm like, what? But then she listens to me though, so I go and fix that up, and she never had that spaz out on me, right? Fast forward the divorce, mom's not in her life so much. My daughter's hormones are kicking in. She's 15, you know what I mean? She had a boyfriend, you know what I mean? So yeah. And which I helped facilitate. Like, I would let them come over and, let's stay in the living room, watch TV. I supported that. He didn't really have a father figure. I tried to like talk to him in private or whatever. And then when at one day my daughter was just out of her mind one night. Like, I don't know what it was other than just the accumulation of all of the circumstances put together. And she ran away, which she had done a couple of times. One time she did it in Puerto Rico. We went to Puerto Rico and we're off the main island. We're in this itty bitty island, you know what I mean? And she gets mad, I think because something on her phone. She just takes off. It's to the point where I'm like, well, she's gonna come back, or we're gonna have to look for her in the middle of the night tonight. She's once they get that age, they're like adults but children too.
Yeah.
So that night she ran away, but she came right back. I called her mom, or her mom called me. She happened to be in the area, and I said, just come by and talk to her. You know what I mean? Like, just hug her, tell her you love her, and you're not judging whatever is going on. I hear her come in and talk to my daughter, and then I hear glass shattering. I just destroying stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Happened that my mom was around the corner too, because we lived around the corner from each other at the time, me and my mother. My mother comes over. They're trying to get her and wrestle her down. I look down the hallway. She's got a knife this huge. My mom and my mom and her mom call the police. They're outside, and before this happened, they had called the police on my daughter before when she was like 9, because she had this thing, and she was like, her wrist, they couldn't even handcuff her. So she'd pull out and try to take the gun from the police. She was wild.
Wow.
And she killed herself in front of me that night. And a week after that, was where a policeman had killed a little girl the same age who had a knife, you know what I mean? And so, I did everything I could to try to get her to calm down before the police got there, because I know how they're going to be, you know what I mean? And the one that whatever. So I don't know, it was tough. It's like the backdrop of my life has been grief my whole life, you know what I mean? Um, um, I just don't know anybody else who's gone through as much burying of people who look like them, like exactly like that. And I don't mean people of color. I mean, like, everybody, and most of the people, too many of the people that I've seen in caskets have my eyebrows and nose and gap teeth. You know what I'm saying? It's horrible for me. 24 hours, I see what she did to herself on a reel. It's constant. So comedy for me is an emotional practice of finding joy when there is none. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what we are. We're like DJs of emotion. People come to laugh and be happy, and we have to guide them to that place, and how can I do that if I don't know where it is? So I'll try not to wake up till 4 o'clock, have a couple coffees and do that at night. And if I do it, or even if I bomb, I tried and I end up in a better space than what I was when I woke up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry that you lost your daughter and it happened right in front of you, and everything you've been through. Just to let you know, when you're talking about your life story, there was probably 5 or 6 things you've gone through that I've gone through. So
Whoa.
yeah. So this show isn't about me, and I'm not trying to one up you. I'm letting you know that's what got me on stage, is all the stuff that I've been through. Now, I was very quiet, and I was never allowed to speak, and if I did, I was called a bitch. And I could go on and on about how you and I are both on a parallel universe, going in the same direction, trying to make people laugh because of the horrible things we've been through from the time we were probably born.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, like, your father's description is like mine: born into drama, born into a lot of death.
Yeah.
So I get it. I totally get where you're coming from. I feel like I'm your sister.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did comedy in school, and they asked you to deliver it again. And then, like, after all of the horrible events in your life that you have risen above them all. You own property, and you're a landlord. You founded a booking agency. You're helping other comedians big time. My gosh, if there was anybody I was glad I got to hear their story, it would be you.
Thank you.
Of 1,010 other comedians, this is the story I'm glad I heard.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to tell it to you, of all people.
And
Appreciate
I heard it. I heard it big time.
Pretty cosmic.
So you started going up on stages, and how did that feel the very first time? Take us to that moment.
Well, that moment was like an accumulation. I mean, every moment is like an accumulation of your entire life up to that point, right? But for some reason, I had been writing comedy, I want to say, for almost a year before I ever went on stage. I don't know why I would have written any of that. It's so stupid. Like, I had no clue that there were open mics where people were doing this. I had no clue. I had never read any comedy books, the Bible, the comedy Bible, and all these things. I just was writing it long form too, like, how's everybody doing? Like, all the way down. And And a close friend of mine, Kwesi, I credit him as being a writer for me, but he's not. I just love having conversations with him. You know, he's real smart, and he says smart things, and then it makes me think of stupid things, and so those stupid things are in what I go on stage with, right? So, we were at a like art sort of festival. He was the only one that knew I had been writing comedy, and he signed me up for the open mic little corner of the art place where they were doing comedy at, and they would not put me up. It was too late or something, and so I just stood there because he coerced me to go over there. I didn't know. I'm standing there, and the guy on stage starts ripping on me. Because I look like a lot of different black dudes, so he just start, going down the list. So I'm like looking at the guy because by then my buddy tells me I tried to sign you up, but they wouldn't let me. They said you couldn't go on. So I'm like, man, can I defend myself, man? What's up, man? Like, can I go? Because I'm just gonna rip on him, And the guy says yes. The dude brings me up on stage, and I did a joke, and I did jokes on him, and then I had one joke that I had written out of all the stuff that I remembered, which I'm still doing now. Which is, I don't know if that's good or bad, right? Like,
it's good. It's good. If it works, it's good.
It does work. And after I got on stage, like all of these dudes and women came up to me like, you should come here, you should go here. So I'm like, oh, y'all are comics? What the fuck? Y'all just hiding in plain sight? Like, what are you people? And then I got the bug. I went to the clubs, and we had one here, nothing like Wise Guys where I met you at, but it was nice. It was a bar, but they watch and they face the stage. There's no TVs and distractions, and sometimes it fills up on a Friday night. And I was just like hooked at that point, and that's when Cap City Comics. That's when I just started Cap City Comics. In that same year.
And tell me about Cap City Comics. Plug it. Plug away.
Okay, so basically, in most comedy scenes that I've witnessed, there are these groups and pockets of comics that don't necessarily work together as much as I feel like they should. So I just wanted to take initiative and create that hub where we're all representative of each other. We all can come together and work together. We can all provide resources for each other. So, and that was heavy for us at the time because that was COVID, right? When I started that. I didn't start the LLC till into COVID, but I was doing it during COVID. Like when COVID first started, that's when bars were like, they'll take anybody, right? Like I was like, yeah, like we'll do comedy in here. And they're like, yeah. Like any other time they'd be like, comedy, fuck off, right? So I got us like 3 or 4 venues, and we're throwing shows like once a month, and I just put as many people as I could on, like all demographics too. Like, I'm a comic who loves mixed rooms. So I didn't want to make a black show or a white show, you know what I mean? I didn't need to have burlesque in it or anything, but I wanted those people to come, you know what I mean? But just comedy, all people. And it worked out, man. But after a while, to be honest, people start booking me individually, like outside of the city and all types of things. And I'm like, I can't do all of these things. Plus, I'm just finding my voice as a comic. I don't want to split my brain with comedy and then business right away, because business ain't funny. And, I just want to be funny. And so now we only throw maybe 4 or 5 shows a year, but they're pretty good. They're pretty, they're good now. I can't put everybody on anymore. At the first, I was like 10 comics on the show. Now I might do 3 at the most. But we're bringing Marshall Brandon, who's Chappelle's opener. Yeah, we got him coming in May. So we only do stuff like that every now and again, and it still brings people together. Maybe we'll start a podcast out in we had a podcast actually, but we got banned because we say everything. Not the F word. And we don't talk about Jews, but everything else. And they still kicked us off. So I think we should start one just to talk about the drama in the city. Maybe only other comics can relate, but who cares, right? There needs to be something for that only we get.
Yeah. I know we've had a couple comedians that have talked the negative side of the Vegas comedy scene, and they get a lot of views.
Yeah, I bet.
I just think that maybe they could leave out people's names,
Yeah. What I wanted to do was go to each comic that we wanted to talk about off camera, like privately, and be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And if you're cool with it, we're going to say your name. And then we're going to bring you in as a guest to like say what you want to say. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And let everybody know that that's how this is going to work, so that it's really no hard feelings. You know what I mean?
That's great. That's great.
And hey, that's how you create, that's how you build bridges anyway. Honesty and transparency. Don't hold nothing back. You know what I mean? It's ugly. Sometimes conversations are ugly, but
I had a 5-year riff with another comic because of something somebody told me that she said, and she never said it. I found out this week. I've had this riff with her for no reason at all.
Wow.
So we got to do a better job, and I'm talking about myself first.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a doll to come on here and open up your real life. I just want to ask your mom. You mentioned your mom and your great grandmother raising you. I can always tell when somebody is old school because they have a strong connection to older people in their lives. So I knew you had a closeness to your mom, maybe a grandmother. I never thought great grandmother. So is your mom still around?
Yeah. We had, when I moved away because she couldn't control me, and I was into a lot of stuff early in my life. We beefed for like 10 years or so, but my daughter brought us together, and then our hearts broke together for my daughter, and we're tight. We're super tight.
You beefed with your mom for 10 years. I've got a beef with my daughter that's been 9 years this March. Haven't heard.
Really?
So maybe there's hope for me. You just inspired me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't. Yeah, I'm all for that reconnection. One time I was in Yellow Springs in Ohio, and this lady was talking about, she had just came to, it was sort of a show, and and she came and she was talking about how she was beefing with her mom, and a friend named Felicia and I had her call her mom in front of us. She didn't answer, but we left her like, we sent her a video. We made a video, and we were all in it, and we were like, listen, we don't do this beefing with your mom thing. You know what I mean? We got to make this right, So I'll put that together for you if you want.
Yeah, I do. I'll hit you up. Maybe you can find her. Nobody can find her.
Oh God, she's really trying to hide, huh?
Yeah. Well, gosh, like I said, this is the interview that I took one look at you and I knew you had a story and I wanted to hear it. And I'm serious about that.
You have one hell of an antenna, man. I'm fascinated with you.
Yeah, because I've been through a lot. So I can see it. I can see eyes are the window to your soul. I mean, I saw so much in your eyes. So
thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming through what you did to the point where you're at, where you can inspire others. Like if you can inspire me, you can inspire everybody. So maybe that's the legacy you'll get to live in your life, is inspiring people. I hope so, because it was powerful when you were talking.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it so much. I'll keep in touch.
Yes, sure. Please do. Let's see each other when we're in this neighboring towns performing or whatever. Stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I'll put this out on Facebook, Instagram. I'll even put a link on TikTok.
Cool.
And so if you hear of any other place to send it, let me know. It'll go on my YouTube in about a week.
All right, I'll do whatever I can to promote or whatever.
Thank you, Neff. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for being, finally, somebody's really real. Thank you.
God bless you, Linda.
God bless you, Neff.
Bye.
Bye.